It's enough.
It's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Alright, I'm going to make this short and sweet. Referees are the third team in all sports. We've seen it with Serena Williams, the NBA, fouls, all kinds of stuff. But why is it that we talk about them most with regards to the NFL? Because it's week in and week out, play after play, game after game, that the referees are missing a call or making too many, missing something obvious, and ultimately deciding the game and getting too involved. It's been leading up to this for many years, 2016, 17, the Jesse James fumble, the tuck rule all the way back, you name it. But this year, I think we've seen the refs deciding way too many games. Check this out. The 4 most called penalties this season, the 2018 season. Number 1, offensive holding. Holding is kind of like, in my opinion, it's a stupid penalty. Every offensive lineman holds, and it's only a matter of if you get caught or not. It's just a fact about the NFL. Number 2, false start. That's on coaching, pre-snap penalties, whatever. I get that. Number 3 is defensive holding. And number 4 is defensive pass interference. The NFL, and this comes down to rules, which I'll get to in a second. The NFL does not let the corners or safeties lay a finger on the receivers anymore. And I think it's deprecating the game, because you look at these receivers, they're drawing pass interferences now like basketball players draw fouls. That's not how the rule is designed. You see uncatchable balls, the refs still throw the flag. That's causing its own problem. Basically what this all comes down to is what they call and what they don't call, or what they miss. We've seen many refs this year call kind of strange fouls, like holding defense when the defender will just put a finger on the guy, or pass interference when they're just trying to make a play on the ball or the ball's not even catchable. Stuff like that. We saw the Chargers, I think it's 3 or 4 times now that they've scored this season on missed false starts. It's those types of penalties you want to be calling, not like some pass interference that's arguable. You want to be calling the stuff that we know is happening for sure. And these refs this season, they're just missing the obvious stuff and calling the stuff that makes us scratch our heads and be like, what are you talking about? Now, all of this boils down to 3 main reasons. Number 1 is the rules and the rules changes in recent years. I'll get to that in a second. Number 2 is how the NFL wants the game to be played versus what we want to see as fans. And number 3 is, of course, the customer, or who's seeing what they're putting out in the end.
It's for the customer!
Who cares about the customer?
I do!
Well, I don't.
The NFL wants the game to be so clean that they actually want the officials to be involved to the degree that they are. Take a look at the rules changes even this season. So we've seen roughing the passer emphasized, of course, this season, with referees basically calling anything they can when the quarterback is sacked. And that comes down to the NFL wanting to send a message to players and coaches that they want the game to be safer. But that leaves us, the customer, scratching our heads and asking ourselves, why is this a flag? And that's because there's such a disconnect between the fans and the NFL. And I'm not just talking about the penalties. You've seen it with the protesting, with Colin Kaepernick leading the protests and all that kinds of stuff. The fans have their own opinion and the NFL has their own opinion, but there's such a disconnect between what the two sides are trying to say that they end up just going their separate ways, and the NFL does their thing and the fans just craft their opinion on it, because at the end of the day, the NFL is not listening to fans. What about touchbacks? Touchbacks are now from the 25-yard line because the NFL wants to make the game safer, as we know, but they really don't. They're just trying to appeal to the masses. The NFL wants to make the game safer, so touchbacks are now from the 25-yard line. They thought by doing this that less teams would run the ball out on kickoffs and more guys would just take a knee in the end zone. Now, we still see a bunch of teams and a bunch of guys running the ball out, and almost every single kickoff or punt, we get an illegal block in the back. Why? Because the NFL is trying to send us a message. They're trying to send the fans a message. They're trying to send the players a message. They're trying to send the coaches, everyone who's somewhat involved in the game. They're trying to send a message, and they're trying to put their thoughts or their opinion, their propaganda, whatever you want to call it, they're trying to put that out there. And the referees are basically, they're on behalf of the NFL. They're putting the NFL's message out there in terms of safety, in terms of concussions, in terms of all this stuff. And it ends up that the referees are so focused on the rules changes and so focused on roughing the passer and so focused on holding defense and not letting the defenders lay a finger on the receivers, all kinds of stuff, that they're missing the obvious things like a false start on the Chargers, which, as I said earlier, has happened 3 or 4 times this year. Or the Jesse James touchdown pass that was overturned in last year's playoff game, but ends up being the reason that they changed the rule this season. It's stuff like that you sit here and wonder, why are the referees so involved in the game? But the truth is, it's not the referees, it's the NFL trying to send us a message and trying to do their best to appeal to the masses and to relay what they think us customers want to see. But all we want to see is real football. Us true fans, we just want to see real football. The NFL is so focused on their vision and what they want to put on the field, making the game safer, appealing to everyone, all kinds of stuff, that they're actually ruining the integrity of the game and ruining the overall product that they end up putting on the field.